So Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about your process with Voc Rehab, and you are in Canyon City, is that right?
Yeah, I recently moved from Canyon to Pueblo West.
Okay, and so you're working with the DVR office in Pueblo, is that correct?
Well, I've been working with the same worker, and she's actually out of Pueblo and Canyon, so that works out well.
Okay.
I can
Great.
keep her.
Yeah. You're currently working as a registered nurse, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And how's that going for you?
Oh, fantastic. The job I found now is completely career changing, and I'm so excited about it. I'm excited every day to work.
Wonderful. And if can you just kind of describe what that looked like from the day that you applied for services with Virginia and then all the way up to when she was actually able to be engaged with you?
When I first applied for services, I had no idea what I was even going to be offered or be able to do. I basically thought it was just a job hunting thing, but maybe more specifically for people. I have a permanent injury and I couldn't floor nurse anymore, and that was a problem. So I needed help getting back into like more of an office job, but still in the nursing realm. And that's a very big challenge, especially in a small town, because usually they've already hired people from within. And I wasn't
Okay.
anywhere to do that. So yeah, I wasn't
Okay.
sure what I was getting into when I met Virginia, and the services offered, I had no clue. It's been amazing.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so you went from one employment during your time with Virginia to a different one, is that correct?
Yeah, the first job I had, it was, thank goodness I had her as a safety net, because that one was, it was on site at a long-term care facility, and it was a management nurse position. However, Corona came.
Oh,
COVID
yeah.
came, and it was a game changer, and it was all hands on deck. You have to go on the floor. And I ended up being fired for physically not being able to go on the floor, even though they knew about my disability when they hired me. And yeah, that was a mess. So that was 2020. And then it was like, what do I do now? I couldn't get hired anywhere, because absolutely everywhere, because of COVID, you had to be able to work the floor. They wouldn't hire you. Every place
Okay.
I got the same rejection. Yeah.
So you had a physical barrier, but then you also had an environmental barrier or COVID barrier. Okay, I guess we could call it that, right? I mean, you in Virginia, it sounds like you guys had to go a little bit extra over just the and not just but the physical piece that was really stressing you. And so now you've been with this company for a few months, is that right?
It's been longer than that, because then I went back to school for my BSN, because a
Okay.
lot of these nurse management desk positions, you have to have your bachelor's degree, and I didn't have it. And so she set me up with that with school, to where it was based off income. And they even came, she had a man come from Denver who set up my whole office ergonomically correct, got me proper chair, got me a proper stand to hold my computer at the right eye level. And he came and he tweaked it and made it fit exactly for how tall I am and everything else, so that I could go to school and it would be correct. And I'm still using that office now with this job now. And
Oh,
thank
great.
goodness I have it, because I have flare-up days with my nerve where it gets hard to type even,
Hmm.
because it's my right hand and I can't use it right. And it's been holding up pretty well, using the setup that I would have never dreamed anyone could even set up for me.
Well, wonderful. That's good to hear. I'm glad that it kind of went smoothly for you. You transitioned from you had to go back to school, right, to be competitive,
Yeah.
and then you finished school. So congratulations. And then now you found employment and you get to work from home somewhat, and
Right.
you have it sounds like you have all the accommodations for you there at home. So that seems great. So I guess the only other question I have is, what successes do you see for yourself with DVR until you're finished with us, and then even beyond? What does that look like for you?
Well, I'm thinking my time will probably be shorter and shorter since I found this job. I actually wouldn't have even found this job probably But Virginia put me together with a job specialist, and she helped me with my resume. She helped me land an interview, knock it out of the park, because she would do practice interviews with me. She sent me this packet of questions that are common questions that they ask. She helped me prepare what the correct answers should be, what they're looking for. So even if I had to think on the fly, I would at least know what they were looking for. And we practiced those many times. She met with me several times, and that helped me land this interview. I mean, this woman called me while she was on vacation and said, I don't want you to slip through the cracks. I had no idea who she was, where she got my resume, had never heard of her company.
Okay.
I had no clue who this girl was. And she said, we want you. She's asking all these questions off my resume. And she's like, okay, well, and that ends up being my first interview with them. And I didn't even know it. And then next thing I know, she goes, well, we want to interview you next week. I'll have somebody get a hold of you over the weekend. Now she's in a cabin somewhere on vacation, got a hold of my resume and didn't want to let me go. So she called me from vacation, which nobody does, told me about it, said, get online and apply to our company. I hadn't even applied to it. I had applied to a facility in Colorado Springs, and he was so impressed with my interview, but because I couldn't work the floor, he wouldn't hire me. He passed my resume on to them because he knew it was more remote work.
Okay.
And that's how she found me. So I applied to their company, and I got a text message on Saturday saying, could you do a Zoom meeting on Monday? And so or maybe it was a phone interview on Monday, and then we did a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, a group Zoom meeting. And I had back-to-back interviews, and then they offered me the job. But I lived in Canyon, and that was a deal breaker for the corporation because you had to live in Pueblo County.
Okay.
So I moved.
Okay.
So I moved
Wow.
to Pueblo.
Wow. Oh, and you've moved as well, Heather. Wow. Well, so what I hear you saying is you've got a lot of successes, and you know, if I think about a timeline and just hearing your journey and finding employment and moving, of course, life-changing, is pretty rapid, is what that sounds like. Is that someone being on vacation, or just the process from you finding a job and getting a job and moving, it all sounds pretty rapid, but it sounds like it's been successful as well.
Well, and it was all the work that Virginia and Chantel both put in with me, setting me up for success. They set me up for success to where I don't know that I could have done this on my own without them.
Wonderful.
But
well, thank you so much.
Very confident. I'm very confident in it now, and I absolutely love what I'm doing. I work with phenomenal people. I am forever grateful to DVR for everything you guys have done for me. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I like hearing your story. This is something that, as a counselor as well, just being able to hear, one, to someone finding employment, but also just thinking about you in your work environment right now and being able to be supported and being able to be physically or emotionally more comfortable. Sounds like it's like you still get to be an experienced, skilled nurse, but you also don't have to bear with the physical constraints, and that would be life-changing and lifelong impacting for sure. I mean, I'm preaching to you, you're a nurse, you know what this does to the physical body.
And I thought I wasn't even going to get to be a nurse again. I cried many tears.
Well, thank you so much for just taking the time. I know that it was, I know you're very busy, and we really appreciate it. I'm very happy for you. If you ever need anything, Heather, please don't feel hesitant to reach out to myself or your counselor or anybody else, and we're always here for you. Okay?
No, absolutely. You guys have been a godsend. You really have.
Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing, and you have a good rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.